That was a really bad idea.
That was a bad idea. There was a fire, there was all sorts of versions of this. And we just kept going until I think the version you finally saw was pretty close to that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the power of the idea is that if you ask anyone, you've lost something and you want something back, you know, you'll start off and you'll start talking about, you know, material things. You'll start talking about, you know, sort of like, you know, you lost a ring that meant something to you, you lost this, or, you know, some memento. But eventually, if you carry on with that conversation, everyone will want a loved one back, and that is always where that story ends. And I think that, you know, that was, well, my experience. My experience is that ultimately you'll always end up being there, and I think that was where the film had to end. That you would want somebody you'd lost back.
Okay, we're going to take questions. So if you've got a question, we have a person just there. If we can get a microphone down. Is it still? We've got two microphones. Yes, there's another microphone. So.
Hi. When you started with the fairy tale of New York, that gave the idea, but the music was also very important. I mentioned throughout the film I saw added a lot of emotion. At what point did you start thinking about the music and work it into the creative process?
Well, I suppose that what you've been watching tonight is what's called the international version.
Keep the mic up.
Sorry, yeah. What you've been watching tonight is the international version, so it has a slightly different sort of like soundtrack to the rest, you know, what people saw in the UK. So apart from the final song, which was sort of like, we actually used Tom McRae. What was it? Yeah, no, it wasn't. No, what was it? Like,
I have to sing it to remember what it's called.
Right, yeah. But the rest of the music was. I've always worked with a composer called Debbie Wiseman, who just sort of like has always brought something to me, and I played her a sort of jazz composition, which was just sort of like, you know, just some sort of like very. Just sort of raw, piano-y, jazzy type thing, and she just like did a riff on it, and then she brought the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in and sort of finished it for good. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, that was it really. Yeah, we just started. We constantly use references, or we use a scratch score. So we're constantly like putting something in that's really rough, and then we try not to, a composer will try not to approximate it, they'll try and do something on their own, but you'll always want what you've edited to for like several months. It's quite a difficult process to move from the point at which you've got lots of bits of music on it you quite like, to the point at which, you know, you want something else, which the composer's going to bring.
There were the Tom McRae, which you didn't hear, was in quite early on, I think, wasn't it? In the writing process, we knew there was a track, and I remember you gave me some pieces of music that I don't usually think about music when I'm writing, because I'm not a director or composer. But yeah, we did talk about that track, which it was the Tom McRae one, because you know what we were thinking about, but. That's very close to it.
So which is the Tom McRae one that's...
It's Perfect Christmas in this version.
Yes.
Yeah. Because this is the international version.
And the other one
it's the McCartney, come on, what's the most famous, like, you know, sort of like, it's a reworking of the...
Grace, what's it called? My daughter's up there, she knows.
Yeah, Wonderful Christmas Time, yeah, Tom McRae.
Which one's it?
It's Wonderful Christmas Time, it's the one that's used on the BBC.
It was a cover of Wonderful Christmas Time.
Yeah, a very, very dour, you know, sort of downbeat version of it.
Yeah, very counterintuitive one on the version, yeah, but that wasn't allowed for international for whatever reason.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. Next question, we have a question there, hand up there, microphone just coming down.
Good evening. Thank you, first of all, for making me sob uncontrollably in public. A question for Eddie. A number of actors like to do something to get in character and to experience something that will help them with the role. Presumably you didn't take yourself through a near-death experience or sit in a bath of ice cubes or anything to experience the cold, but did you draw on any personal experience to take that to the role, or did you do anything at all?
The finding Anthony was slightly unusual. I think every role I do, it is a different, there is no set process. And for Anthony, I was coming straight out of Treasure Island and into this. I think there was 2 weeks in between the two films. I think what I found on this was, not that I wanted to go through an experience that linked to it. I wanted to find out what was driving Anthony, or Richard, or Goose, or who was, I call him Anthony because it keeps it clearer. And what I felt was his strength was the fact that he didn't know who he was, and therefore he had no fear, which comes out when he meets the first two kids. He just does not react, because they're trying to up the intimidation as it goes on, and he just doesn't react to it. And I realized he had this magnificent strength